So the kids have decided this year that they are making all of their friends, presents by hand. So we're doing handmade gifts, cute little baskets with all kinds of fun stuff like cocoa, like build your own cocoa in a mason jar and those sorts of fun things. And so I think they're probably going to be doing some really fun melt and pour with cute molds and painting and stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. If you want to see the kidlets in action and whatever and see how their skills have improved since the last time they did something, which was it feels like forever ago, let me know. We'll do that. We are doing a melt and pour cold process hybrid soap today. So that's kind of why I was talking about melt and pour. But I'll tell you more about the cold process melt and pour hybrid and maybe the soap and clay kidlets too, because I'd love talking about them in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you're here for day 10 of 31 days of Soapmas. And as I said, today we are making a peppermint rounds cold process melt and pour hybrid soap for a drop in the ocean. She had come to me several years ago and wanted to include this in her holiday line, and so every year we make it, we do the thing. Normally I make it out of strictly melt and pour, so I make a base for the red, base for the white. I've shown it before on the channel how to cut and do the things, but this time I decided to mix it up a little bit and see what would happen if I used a 100% coconut oil soap with the natural red that I can't stop talking about. I get it. You might be tired of it, but I love it. And the white melt and pour together to see if it could save me some cutting and also maybe some melt and pour because I was running low on glycerin and I thought this would be a fun way to do it, to see what happens with it all, how well they adhere, all of the things. Might also have an added benefit of not getting any of the soap sweat the glycerin do at the end user or in a drop in the oceans, facility while she's waiting to package up orders, all the jazz, because humidity changes are wild. And so let's get to the video. I'll tell you more about all the changes that I made, and we can see if they worked or if this was a terrible idea. Okay, today we are doing peppermint rounds in a hybrid soap. Now this is my soap base, my melt and pour base that I have showed you a number of variations of on the channel. This particular one is actually made from the soap scraps of a drop in the oceans, because this is a drop in the ocean soaps. So this is from the soap scraps of a drop in the ocean's oat milk bars, which I think we've done recently or we're about to. I don't know. All the days just kind of blend together, especially when you're doing daily content again. It's super wild. But this is made with her soap scraps that we then add some hardeners to and some glycerin. And I've shown you that, on the channel, all the things. But this particular blend is lower in the glycerin because I wanted to make sure that we could work with the humidity levels within a drop in the oceans facility, because I know that we have in the past been having issues with humidity once in a while for anything that has a glycerin base. And so I wanted to do less glycerin with this guy and perhaps firm it up a bit in the end, but still make it very meltable by adding a wax to it. So this particular wax, this is, it's Candelia wax, but you could also use bees as well. And I'm going to then, of course, melt it down And we are going to work on these peppermint rounds in a way that we normally don't, because usually what I do for the peppermint rounds that I've showed on the channel, I think it's a tradition at this point, and I love Christmas traditions, so that's perfect, is it's all melt and pour, and we pour the whites and then sort of rearrange everything in the same little, containers, pour. Why don't I have words today? You get it, the things that I'm pouring in, rearrange them, and then pour red, glycerin soap over it to make the rounds. But we're going to do it a little bit different this time because the red is going to actually be a cold process soap for this one. Cool. And the cold process soap that I'm going to use for these guys is going to be a 100% coconut oil soap. And the reason for that is I wanted to play and see just how much shrinkage we would get from the coconut oil soap and the melt and pour. Because remember, melt and pour, it doesn't shrink. It's not losing any more water. It's not a soap that's going to really change it, except for, of course, getting glycerin dew if you have too much glycerin within your soap recipe and it's too high humidity. But coconut oil soap, 100% coconut oil soap, tends to not shrink at all. It is a very interesting blend. We use it for a lot of stuff. Most often we use it for dish soap, you know what I mean? And on this channel. But this particular recipe is a coconut oil soap with a 12% super fat. And see how I was cutting those up? I didn't like them. That was really annoying to me. No part of that was fun for me at all. And so I ultimately decided that instead of cutting them up and placing them like this, that I would just cut just to a circle and keep everything ultimately still intact, and then just pour into the crevasses with the cold process soap that's coming up. So doing something like this and then just taking all those scraps instead of trying to reuse them immediately, taking all those scraps, putting them back into the Pyrex, remelting them, and then continuing to make, the rounds until I had enough to do the red, is my thinking. This ended up being a lot easier and a lot less tedious than taking all these little pieces and trying to make them stand up inside each of the little crevasses. Why am I having such a hard time? It's not mold. I mean, I guess they are. They're cavity mold, whatever. Anyway, doing that and then pouring the red around it is what I'm thinking. And so I wanted to play with the cold process and the coconut oil soap just to see, again, the shrinkage and if there would be any separations, because that is one problem that you deal with when you're working with hybrid soap. So combining melt and pour and cold process, you can, just because of what cold process is and what melt and pour is, you can have the issue where they start to separate. And I wanted to see if doing it this way and using a soap that's not going to shrink much because you're not losing much water, if that would essentially make this a success. And so that's what we're going with. And for the red, yep, same red. Same red we've used the entire, time for the holiday season. So it's the madder root and the rhubarb root. And it's gorgeous and it does look purple. Remember, trusting the process. Very important. Now, I'm pouring this incredibly thin, which can be dangerous with 100% coconut oil soap or with any soaps that are just a single color to that, because if you don't hit that emulsion, you're going to end up with some really kind of weird soaps at the end. But, I've been doing this for a minute, and I am not going to be able to put these on a heat pad, so they're not going to get any C-pop or gel because that melt and pour will melt. But also, I have shown you, I think in year one, what happens when they melt in this particular application, and it's pretty cool because the melt and pour sort of starts melting and getting wavy and wispy into the red portion, and then it's fun. But I didn't do it this way for that one. You can go back to year one and see that for what happens when the melt and pour melts and then recombines with the cold process. It creates a really cool pattern for sure for anybody who's into the hybrid stuff. People are into melt and pour a lot these days, just generally. Have you noticed that? Okay, and on to the cuts, or just basically the reveals. And as you can see, as a result of the batter being so thin, it got down through the tops and sort of covered up some of those whites. But that's okay, because that's why planers were invented. And so we're just going to plane the tops off so you can get the whole pattern. Now, these are a little bit lighter than I would like, but because I know what that madder root and rhubarb root combination does, this should continue to darken up as it sits. And I really do love what we've done here with having it mostly white and then just the little bit of, red. So it's not like equal portions. I think I like this look a whole lot better than any other year that we've done these for a drop in the ocean. So I think this is probably what I'm going to stick with. I find it to be much cuter to not have equal portions red and white. And so, yeah, I'm totally running with that, I think, from now on. And to my knowledge, Christina also likes them because she didn't tell me she didn't, So that's good. But yeah, super cute. And they're sticking together beautifully. None problems whatsoever. And I have a couple of them here because I made these quite a long time ago because obviously this was for her holiday line. And so I kept a couple here just to see what they would do. And they did not shrink up. We had no issues at all with them getting kind of weird in the cure and any separation. So I wasn't able to like pop any little red pieces out or anything. It was great. It's perfect is the point. So this was my new take on the peppermint rounds this year. And honestly, I like them. I think they look more like the peppermint hard candies than any other year that I've done it. And so even if I end up doing this with just melt and pour and pouring the melt and pour into the dead space of the white, from now on, I am just going to kind of cut the white and leave it in one solid piece and just pour into those voids and not try to make it all make sense like I'm going to Jenga or Tetris it all into the mold. You get it. You can go back to the other videos that I've done if you don't get it. But there they are. They're peppermint rounds. They're super cute. They're amazing. It's the holiday season, and I love these. They are super adorable. And there they are, some adorable peppermint rounds. And yeah, they're totally cute. And I actually did like this a whole lot more than doing it the way that I've done in the past. Mostly because I didn't have to fiddle around with fitting in the cut off pieces to make another. I didn't do any of that. I just took the melt and pour, melted it from a base that I've created. I've given you that recipe. And, just continue to take those scraps, remelt them, continue to make the circles until I had them all. That made it easier. And the pouring of the red was obviously easy peasy. The benefits of doing the 100% coconut oil in that is, I think, a lot. Yes, with the glycerin, for sure. It's going to help out with glycerin dew and not getting too much humidity to it, kind of balance it all out. 2, melt and pour soap is usually meant for like overly oily skin. And so this could kind of balance out the overall experience with the bar. So there's that. C, it's just cuter and more fun, but the 100% coconut oil does cure really fast, doesn't need a whole lot of cure time, and so this was something that can still be done reasonably simple, reasonably on the fly, not a whole lot of cure time involved. So I love that for sure. Let me know what you guys think. I know that I've seen a couple of you posting pictures of that on the different forums, like the Facebook pages and stuff, and I'm like, that's so cute. I know where you got that idea. That's from me. It's awesome. So when I see it, I comment and I'm like, this is Mrs. Soap and Clay approved. So if you're that person, I commented. I mean, you know that. Okay. I hope you guys had fun today. Sudsers, you are awesome. I have fun with you every day. Thank you for being you. Thank you for existing. You've got like 3 or 4 more days before the actual, it's the drop dead date for shipping. So you can do it. You can make it. You can get there. I promise. We're all going to get through this together. We're going to be drinking mimosas or champagne or something on New Year's Eve, and we will be cleaning up bottles together on New Year's Day. It's Taylor Swift. I'm out of here. People that aren't subscribed, you can do that. Cool. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of 31 days of Soapmas. Soapy fun. Bye.